Hey guys, welcome to Module 8. In this module, we're going to set up an LED dice. So with the press of a button here, we're going to pretty much roll a dice and see what comes up. So for this one, you're going to need 6 LEDs, your push button, a 10K resistor, 6 330 or 220 ohm resistors. You need some jumper wires. That's about it. You need the boards. So let's get started. Let's hop on the whiteboard. All right, with the push button here, we're going to take this lead here, bring it up to our positive. We're going to take this is going to come over to our ground. We're going to first put a resistor here. It's 10K. And then finally, we're going to take this lead, we're going to move it over here. So we go to 12, which is going to be our input. So now we have the button wired up. So when we press it down, we're going to have 12 light up. That way we can control things, which is going to allow us to scroll our LED dice because we need a way to scroll it. Next, we've got all of our LEDs here. I'm sure you guys know the drill by now. Get our resistors in there. These are all 220, I'm not going to mark them, you guys know. Take this, go up to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then we're going to take this end and all these ends. We're just going to go to our negative here. So I'm going to take that down and just connect those all like that. Easy enough. So now we have all of our LEDs. They're from 7 all the way down to 2. We've got 6 of them. And then we got our push button that is put into 12 as an input. All right guys, welcome back from the whiteboard. Let's get building. right guys, now that this is done, let's go ahead and hop in the computer and write some code. All right, this is going to be a little bit longer one. Hopefully you guys are still here with me. So let's go ahead and first start with int first equals 2. So this is going to be declaring our, okay, equals 3. This is all of our LEDs here. And fourth equals 5. Isn't it great? We're offsetting by 1. And 6, or fifth. 6. If I can type int sixth equals 7. So now we have, oh wow, okay. We got through that one. So we're setting up the digital pins for the LEDs. So 2 through 7 is how we're going to wire this one up. And then we need an int button. And this is going to be for where our button's at. And we're going to wire this one up to 12. And then last, we're going to need int pressed. And this is just going to ask ourselves, is the button pressed or not? So obviously we need a state check for that one. So what we need to do is, just like the trick I showed you before, we're going to do another for loop here so we can declare all of these as outputs without having to really type that much out. So, and keep our code nice and organized. So I equals first. So we're starting with I equals 1, and then while I is less than or equal to 6th, which in this case is 7, right? We want to I plus plus. So we want to keep going through them. Again, we discussed why this is important earlier, why this is nice to use. And then I'm just going to do pin mode here as I output. So every time this is going to go 2, output 3, output 4, output 5, output 6, output 7, output, and it's going to stop because it's all conditions met. So now we set all the outputs. And now last, we can just do this super easily, pin mode. And then this one's button. Input. Cool. All right, now we have everything set up. Next, what we need to do here in setup is we need a random number, because we need to generate a random number essentially in order to roll this correctly, because we want everything to be random. So in here, we need to do random seed analog read 0. So essentially the trick that we're doing here is it's taking a read off of our analog read. Even though we've got nothing wired up to this, analog read 0, it's pretty much just going to give us random noise. Either should be unconnected, there shouldn't be anything to this. So we're going to get random noise here, which is going to generate us a random value, which is super cool. So we're going to go ahead and go to the loop now. And then, so pretty much the way we need to structure this is if button is pressed, well, we want to throw the dice, right? So the way we're going to do that is pressed, so that's the state of our button, equals digital read button. So we're now getting the state. If pressed, if pressed is equal to high, which means it's pressed. We want to, first we want to remove the previous number, because if we're doing this over and over again, we want to set everything back to 0. So we can do this by doing, we actually have to do another call function, because I don't want to make this too messy. So what we're going to do is set all LEDs low. So we want to turn all of ours off. So we'll create this in a bit. I can just set it aside for now. Let me just go here. And let's set up void. Set all LEDs. And that's, so we remember to set that up. And then, so if we need to turn all LEDs off, and then next what we're going to do is we're going to int throw number. We need an int now for what number we're getting. And then we're going to need to make another function here for throw dice. another void here. So essentially, yeah, we need to throw the dice here, and that's going to give us a random number. And then show number, just give me another one, throw number. So you can see we have some creating to do. So we need to make one for void, show number, and then we're going to need a void. And then this one's going to be throw dice. So it's going to be us throwing the dice. Great. All right, so first let's go ahead and just do this one. This one's going to be easy to knock out. So we need to set all LEDs to whatever. And since right here it's requesting, see how I put in the brackets here, low? So we want to make sure that we are grabbing that essentially as int value. So let's go ahead and int value. We can really type value or anything that we want there. We're just going to use value though. And we're going to do another one of these for loops, int I equals first. And then we're going to go through all of our LEDs again. Equals sixth. And then I plus plus. So for all of these, we need to digital write I and then value. So essentially what's happening here is we're saying, hey, set the value to low for everything in here. So it's going to go and it's going to be like, okay, what value did you input here when it's running? And it's going to say, oh, I see that they want me to put something there. And then every time it goes through that, it's going to set this integer value to what we assigned it here, so low. So essentially every time it's going to say digital write I low. So that way we set everything off. Make sure I got that right. All right, perfect. So next we need to let's do a throw dice. That's gonna be a good one. So we need a random number. So int random number equals random 1 through 7. Because essentially it's 1 through 6. Get a random number in the range between 1 and 6. So that way we can roll the dice, right? So next we need to return from this the random number. So when this gets run, it's essentially saying, all right, so I'm going to roll a random number, and then it's going to return this value. And then we're going to reference that value again, right? So this allows us to access it outside of it. So then back, let's go to show number. So show number is cool, so we need to set this up as an int number. So digital write first I if number equal to 2. Digital write second I. So first it's going to say, all right, is it 1? All right, so it's going to give it this one. If it's 2, it's going to make the third one go. All right, so let me go that way. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we need to go through first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So every time this runs, right, so it's going to ask what the number is, and if the number is like 4, it's going to turn all of these on and then turn on the fourth one. So 1 through 4 will be turned on. If the number is 1, it's just going to hit 1 and it's going to turn only 1 on. If the number is 6, it's going to turn all of them on. 5, it's going to stop at 5. So that way it's going to show the number correctly. So one more thing that we're going to add here is we want a little bit of a show before we roll the number. We don't just want it to happen real quick. So what we're going to do here is we're going to build up tension. So build tension. So we're going to call this new one too. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and make another one here. Void build up tension. All right, so the way this one's going to work is essentially what we're thinking is before you click the button, it's going to go back and forth, or as soon as you click the button, right, because it's the order here, so it clicks the button, and then it needs to, I want to like randomly go back and forth from 0 all the way to, you know, make a little show, build up some tension. That's the whole point of this, before revealing what number they rolled, right? Kind of like simulated rolling the dice, and you get that build up. So what we're gonna have to do for this is another for loop, int I equals first, I less than equal to sixth. We essentially just wanted to scroll between all of these and then turn them on and off. Plus, close this one, open this one. So if we want to ask if it is not equal to the first one. So yeah, this is essentially running only if it's not equal to the first LED. And we want to set it to low, right? I minus 1 equals low. So let me make another bracket here. We're going to demon our brackets. Digital write I minus 1 low. Okay, that's all we need to do for there. And now what we need to do is have it to start going high. So digital write high, and then delay 100. So that way it's not going too quick. And then to simulate the right to left. All right, so what this is setting up right here. Let me tag this so it's a little easier to notice. So this is setting it up for left to right. So it's going to count up. Remember what we did before is counting up, so it's going to go from left to right. And then what we need to do, it's essentially the scrolling LED one that we set up earlier. Alright, so we're just going to reverse these, right? Instead of doing plus plus, it's going to be minus minus. And then this is going to be reversed as well. It's going to say first. And then I equals sixth. So we're just reversing everything, not equal to sixth. It's going to set them to low. And then, actually it's going to set them to, yeah. And then destroy I equals high. All right, perfect. So now we're going left and right. Now we've added that as a function, and now it should work. So it looks like we're missing something here. Show that. It looks like we're forgetting that. Let's see if we're missing anything else here. Where does this end? The loop. Perfect. Where does this one end? There. All right, guys. One mistake that I made here. This should not be a void. This needs to be an int. So we're essentially setting the integer of throw dice to a random number every time we call it. So that was one error I messed up. So I wanted to include that in here in the video so you guys can make sure that you change that as well if you do the same thing. So I was doing void here as throw dice, however it should just be an int. That's all we need to do here. And yeah, I didn't catch that. So there we go. Now it works perfectly. All right, now that our code is complete, let's go ahead and install it onto the board here. And let me hit upload. So there we rolled the 3. Rolled the 2. Let's see if we can get a 6 on the 3. Well, it looks like we're not lucky today. Oh, there's our 6. Awesome. So congratulations. This is a really awesome project. Really glad we got this working. Now, do not destroy this just yet. We're going to move on to the next module. However, we're going to leave this wired up as it is. See you guys in the next one.